With the recent findings of medical use of marijuana in the field of medicine, the United States has allowed the use of marijuana in medicine to further allow studies on how to use the drug effectively in terms of health. The question now raised in the thoughts of many is, what other drugs have medical use? While it is true that drugs do have a positive effect when used correctly and its use is monitored by the proper authorities, the downside of using these drugs easily outweighs the benefits, which is why not all drugs should be legalized. This is because not all drugs offer a real positive effect, and the legalization of all drugs will further push people into addiction. Although some drugs have positive effects, some examples include marijuana and cocaine. These drugs are being studied by scientists because of further recent findings of using them as pain relievers in certain illnesses. Common examples include bone cancer, specifically because of how painful bone cancer can be to the patient, and is also commonly used in surgery as a form of anesthesia. This can be done because these two drugs have innate ability to block pain receptors in the brain, offering the patients a less painful experience in terms of what they have to experience. For instance, a bone cancer patient can get a short-term relief if induced with the proper dosage of marijuana monitored by doctors and surgeons. However, most drugs do not even offer any positive effect or any real ones to boot, and they can be lethal. An example of this is a commonly used drug called heroin. Heroin in the streets is also known as Big H, Hell Dust, and Smack. It is known to be an extremely addictive drug and is widely spread in the illegal drug industry. It is known to give people the quote unquote euphoria effect or the sudden boost in pleasure. But recently, studies have shown that the euphoria effect it brings is actually caused by the damaging of neurons. These neurons serve as the messenger of the brain. What heroin does is that it blocks its ability to transmit the signals back to the brain. And what it does is it changes the stress hormones in your body, which which explains the lack of stress that you feel when you have this drug and the sudden happiness and the sort of relief off your shoulder as if you didn't have a worry in the world. And its long-term effects can be devastating. It is known to give people minor symptoms such as severe itching, heavy feeling in the arms and legs, nausea and vomiting, a slight fever, and more. In severe cases, the symptoms can range from insomnia all the way to an infection of the heart valves and lining. Another example of these drugs that have no positive effects is the drug opium. This drug has been used by people for centuries and has even been one of the major causes of war between China and the UK back in the early 1800s, called the Opium Wars. It is known as a herbal painkiller and as a way of calming the nerves because of its ability to mess with neurological transmitters that induce stress hormones and submits pain receptors to the brain. However, once again, after studying the drug further, it has been found that the drug has been seen to damage not only the neurons but also the very foundation of the brain. It has been seen to cause a shrinkage of the brain, pretty similar to Alzheimer's disease. and in cases, it has been known to cause short-term memory loss, and the most fatal one, causing permanent paralysis. The further allowing of these drugs to be sold in the market and making them legal can allow access to the common people, which can easily lead to people who are addicted to these drugs to have a much more easier time accessing it. Because why would you have to risk going to buy these drugs from through illegal methods when you can easily buy them legally? Overall, not all drugs should be legalized. The more we give access to these addictive drugs to other people, the more likely they will get further addicted to the drug. Not all drugs have positive effects. Some of these positive effects are fake because the positive effects that they bring were actually negative. The strict process of legalizing drugs that do have positive effects can help not only in medicine, but also the people who will benefit from these benefits the drugs can bring. A cancer patient who suffers extreme pain can feel relief with the help of monitored doses of marijuana. We should strictly keep a keen eye for which drugs are to be legalized, and when needed, intervene when the drug about to be legalized do not bring any good to us and has not done the proper studying and has not done proper research on it. Doing so will help us not only in the advancement of medicine, but it will also minimize the chance of illegal drugs being passed on through the local market.